The expectations are very high for Mark Pope's Kentucky Wildcats this season, and he wouldn't want to have it any other way. That's the conversation we're going to have on today's episode of the Wildcats Today Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, publisher over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined as always by Carson Nash. And Carson, how does it feel to live in a world where the expectations for Kentucky basketball are very, very, very high?
It just feels like a normal day to me, because it is Kentucky basketball. So the expectation is always national championship here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I just think that what's so exciting about this season and last year, I mean, you got to think like, even though Calipari wasn't having success in those last 5 years, the expectation heading into the season was always pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
I think last year was the first season we were kind of like, okay, let's manage these expectations. And frankly, I think the Sweet 16 berth with all of the injuries that Kentucky had exceeded my expectations in year one for Coach Pope. But that luxury's gone. You know what I mean? It is now back to natty or bust for the Kentucky basketball program like it should be, knowing, it's the premier program in college basketball. And I think that this season, we've talked about how good the team can be. Obviously, Carson and I talk about this every day. Every time we're on here, we're talking about how good this basketball team can be. But what I love, and I want to read a quote from Coach Pope talking about expectations at Kentucky basketball. And I mean, to me, this is like bulletin board material for the team. Like, this should get fans and players fired up. So I want to read this quote. This was from his press conference a few weeks ago. The expectation here has nothing to do with me setting it. It is what it is in Kentucky. It's one of the things that sets us apart from every other program in the country. I happen to love it. I love every bit of it. I'm grateful to be here where the expectation is that only one ending to the season makes it a satisfying season. I'm grateful to be in this environment. It comes with everything that you guys all know it comes with. That's where I want to be, and I'm grateful. That's where our guys want to be, and they feel it. It comes with all of the complications you can imagine, but as an athlete, those are the expectations you want to sign up for. And I absolutely love that. I love hearing that.
That's awesome.
Like, that's a quote to me because, I mean, you don't want to have to manage expectations. You, as fans, Kentucky fans, we want to be able to just every single year believe that our team can win it all. Sometimes maybe we're delusional this year. I don't think we are, but maybe that's reality. But the expectation is always going to be winning it all. And I think, Carson, we've talked about it for weeks and months. This team has the ability to do that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I like how you talked about last year a little bit, because I think we all knew that the ceiling wasn't as high on last year's team just because of the athletic capabilities of the players. But I think this year's a totally different story because Pope knows what he's got in this team. You got athletes across the board. You got talent across the board. You got young guys that are going to provide some buckets. So I'm really excited about this season, and it seems like Pope is too. You wouldn't just come out and say that if you weren't feeling a little bit confident in this year's group.
Exactly. Also, that was an Ale 8, by the way, not a beer for anybody. And if you don't know what an Ale 8 is, then I don't know why you're watching this podcast.
Shout out Ale 8.
Shout out Ale 8. Well, Winchester, my mom and her parents, my grandparents are Winchester folks. So shout out to Winchester.
Yeah, so is my aunt. So I'm sure she's watching.
We love Winchester. But I love having a coach. And it's tough to find a Division I basketball coach that's not a competitor. I'm not saying that no other coach in the country would give you a quote like this that Coach Pope just gave, but I think what I like about a quote like this is the fact that, like, Coach Pope, and he said things similar to this, like, if I'm not winning games, I'm not going to be the coach here. Like, he understands what he needs to do, and if he doesn't do that, he's not going to be coaching here any longer. Like, there's no, like, surprises. There's no secrets. And I think I really like that about him. But Carson, now to get into it, to get in it, I mean, this team, the expectations should be that this team can win a national championship. I mean, do we all agree on that? Are there any concerns with that take at all?
No, I completely agree with it. And, like I predicted in the hot takes episode, I think we get to the national championship game. So I'm very confident in this team's ability. And I mean, we've got at least 12 guys that can play. So, I mean, we have one of the deepest rosters in college basketball, filled with talent, filled with athleticism, filled with good defense. There's no reason to not think this team's capable of reaching the national championship.
Well, I've started my research on obviously SEC teams, like we're dialed there, but I've started my research on some of just the other big name teams. And I just, every time I do it, there's a lot of good basketball teams this year, but I just like the Cats. I really do. And what I've noticed when doing some research on some other teams, Carson, I think we have a handful of players, and we've kind of talked about this in the last couple of weeks, but we have a handful of players that have the ability to just explode onto the scene and be star players. And it's not like we're relying on that, because you have a star player in Otega Oweh. You have a guy that's going to be a star in Jaden Quains once he's back to 100%. But then you have your Jalen Lowe, who could just turn into a superstar. I mean, once again, the dude averaged inefficient, yes, but almost 17 points a game last year in ACC. So,
and you got guys coming back that could break out, like Colin Chandler, Brandon Garrison. I mean, you have a lot of guys that could take that next step in their game, and that only raises our ceiling.
Exactly. And then you've got the guys, to me, like Cam Williams and Jasper Johnson, names like that. I think Hawthorne's a name like that with what he's done early on in his Kentucky career as a young guy. Malachi Moreno, we've talked about. I mean, like, these guys could be awesome. And I just think that one or two of these kind of Yelovich, once he gets here, I think it's a great example. One of these guys taking it to the next level just makes this team even better, because I think that the Aberdeen, I throw on that list, I think that the floor of these players is depth-wise is going to be good enough for us to be very successful, knowing the great players that we for sure already have. But if a couple of them hit their ceiling, that is when this team goes from, top 12 to top 1. Quickly is when Cam Williams or Jasper just are incredible. When stuff like that happens is when this team really separates itself. And when you have such a deep roster, you have more opportunities for players to do exactly that. So this is a big reason why having the deepest roster in college basketball is such a benefit for Mark Pope this season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I love that. And I mean, the NBA and college games are different, but look at the finals last year, right? It was the two deepest teams. They both made the finals. There's a part where depth plays a huge role in March, because you're going to need – sometimes guys have cold nights, right?
Yeah.
But when Jasper's having a cold night and you got Cam Williams on the bench, Cam Williams is coming in and he hits 5 threes, Having extra depth and guys that can reach that max potential on your bench is huge for March, and it causes you to have a higher floor as well, because you're not running into the cold nights and you're only playing 7 guys like we used to, and then you don't got any depth on your bench and it runs into a loss. And so I have a hard time believing we're going to lose a lot of games just because of that pure fact.
Well, when you bump into a team that's not as deep as you, what we're going to learn is they have 2 options. Option 1 is to run their starting 5 as much as they can, and then when it gets to crunch time, when it gets to the last 5 minutes of that ball game, if it's close, we're going to be in a better spot than they are stamina-wise. It's just a reality. The other option is to run their backups versus our backups, and we win that battle 10 times out of 10. I think against every single team in college basketball. And those are your options. And either way you go about it, Kentucky wins. And this is what's interesting about Kentucky. And I've seen some folks arguing this. Do we have the best starting 5 in college basketball? I think we have a top 10 starting 5 in college basketball. Do we have the best? You can make arguments elsewhere. Do we have the most depth in college basketball? Yes, I think by a very, very wide margin. And depth wins. Like you just, that's a great example with the NBA. Those two teams, the Pacers, were just deep, man. They were just deep. Was their starting five the best by any means in NBA? Hell no. Far from it. Theirs probably maybe outside of the top 15 starting fives. And they just were deep. And now they also got hot, and that stuff matters too. But still, it's a great example. So
it also allows Pope to play kind of a chess game too, because if you're running into a matchup against a smaller team, right, you could put Yelovich at the 5 and run small ball, and then you have your big guys on the bench. Or if you run into a huge team, you play JQ and BG. You just have multiple different ways to attack teams, like we didn't have last year.
Yeah, I love that example too, because like whatever you're playing, you have the personnel to attack it. Whether it's small ball, whether you're playing the 3 7-footers in Gainesville, you have a way to attack them. That game, heck, I don't know what we're going to do, but maybe, I'm just saying, I don't think we're going to, because we've talked about it. We don't like having that many big guys out there, but like throw Moreno, JQ, and Yelovich at him. Hell, you know what I mean? Like, we could do that.
You can stick Yelovich at the 3, and I don't think he's going to fall off that much.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, because I think, he can handle the ball and shoot. But we could do it. I don't think we will, because I don't think it's winning basketball, but we could do it if we wanted to. And that's the point, is whatever people throw at you, this Kentucky basketball team has the personnel to combat it. And that is winning basketball. That's a winning roster. And that's why Mark Pope won this offseason. He did a kick-arse job of putting together this roster. And that's why having players like Reese Potter and Hawthorne, right? Like Reese Potter played Division I basketball last year, and he's the 14th guy on this team probably.
And then he's 7'2".
And so like –
and shot over 40% from 3.
I mean, let's just say there's a game where you just pick up a ton of – or let's say, BG misses a game with a small ankle tweak, and he's going to miss one ball game, and then Moreno and JQ get a couple quick fouls, and you put Reese Potter in there. Is he the best center in the world? No. But he's played Division I basketball. I mean, he can come in and hang up, he can hang in there for 5 minutes.
He's better than Ugana Onyenso already.
Yes, exactly. But like seriously, like that's the point. And I think the Reese Potter conversation exemplifies the depth of this roster. It's a great example. I mean, if he had to play 6 minutes and again in a crucial game, he could do it. Hell, he might make a 3. Like, that's my point is it's the deepest roster in college basketball, and that's why the expectations should be as high as they are. And, and I've talked to a lot of folks about this. I think this is an interesting point to bring up. When I think people over the last handful of years have forgotten what Kentucky basketball is. That's the reality. People are acting like other fan bases are acting like we're Nebraska. And I mean, it's like, okay, it's been a few years since we've won one, but first of all, I think winning an NCAA championship in basketball is the hardest thing to do.
Oh,
you've got, it's tough to do because I think the playing field is so level in a lot of these. And, but that's my first take, but the other take is that like, we've been there, we've been in the Final Fours, we've been in the championships. It just hadn't gone our way. And this team's going to get one. And I'll add to that like other fan bases are trying to say, oh, you haven't won one. And then I think our own fan base at times, I mean, I'm not saying Kentucky fans aren't confident anymore, but I'm just saying like, we're forgetting who we are a little bit. And so it's like, I think some people might hear this and say, oh, come on, it's year 2. I think Elite 8 and I'd be happy. I don't think that should never make us happy. We should be wanting to, the expectation should be a national championship every single year at Kentucky. And I think that Mark Pope is bringing that mentality back. If he doesn't win it all this year, he'll be angry. Now, if he goes to a Final Four, are we all going to be pretty satisfied in year 2? Heck yeah, we are. Let's be honest. I think even Elite 8, I'd be satisfied. I'd be somewhat satisfied. But I think that we're wrong for that. I think we should get back to exactly what Coach Pope said in that quote, which is, at Kentucky, the season should end one way, and if it doesn't, the season's a failure. And I love that mentality from Coach Pope, and I think it's going to go a long way during his tenure.
I love it too, and that's what Pope was taught while he was here, right? He grew up in it, so he ain't ducking the smoke. Mark Pope is going to make it his job to win a national championship. Yeah. And I think he's putting all the pieces together to have the best chance to do so right now. And, it's only going to get easier for him. As soon as he starts showing that he can make it deep in the tournament, then it's going to get even easier for him to get people here and to get the fan base back, which I think most of them already are. But I think people are a little, like you said, they don't believe as much because we haven't seen it in a long time. But Pope's going to get us back up there.
I agree. And I think the other thing that'll help him too is producing some NBA talent. I think sending JQ there this year, maybe does Oway find his way into pick 31, pick 30. Does Ken Williams or Jasper turn themselves into first round picks? Like, I think that producing NBA talent is really going to go a long way for helping Coach Pope on the recruiting trail. Because, he's going to want to bring in 2 to 3 highly ranked freshmen every year. And you'd like to make those the best possible freshmen you can make them. So, I think that that's going to go a long way, is producing some NBA talent this year. That's the one thing is, Coach Pope, I mean, obviously he sent Bray and Amari last year, but he hasn't really had any like one and done level talent yet. And I think that doing that with like a Jasper or JQ is not a one and done, but he kind of is, knowing that like he couldn't go to the draft because
he was reclass.
Yeah. So I think that'll go a long way on the recruiting trail. For those that do still have maybe some concerns about him recruiting high school players, I think that is going to go a long way.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think, and there's a good opportunity for like you said, Jasper and Cam Williams to kind of play themselves into that role. And, that only looks good on the recruits if they end up doing so. And, there's a big one out there that we're still trying to catch. And he hit eight threes and a half the other day, which was remarkable.
Yeah, he had like 84. We're talking about Tyron Stokes, and he had like 84 points between 2 games like last week. Like, it was just like, dude, are we serious?
It's unreal.
That's nuts. Like, that's insane. So, but I'm excited to live. I mean, it's tough too. I want to see, like, I'm trying to hear y'all's thoughts, Kentucky fans, about like, I'm trying to explain my feelings for this season and see like if anybody else feels the same way. But it's just like during those Calipari years, I can't explain it. Maybe we just got so used to it. I agree.
I mean, I grew up and through it, and I mean, we were with the best years of Cal and some of the best years of Kentucky basketball history, and I still love Coach Cal. But at those last 5 years, I mean, you were going into the tournament. I wasn't expecting much, and that had never happened to me in my whole entire life. So it's good to have those expectations back.
And I mean, anybody that says, "Well, what are you talking about?" Like the dude didn't do anything from COVID until he left. I mean, it was.
We won one tournament game while I was in college during that stretch.
That's what I'm saying. So like, that should never. Or is Kentucky going to win the Natty every year? Hell no. It's impossible to do. Or should they be going further than, should they get out of the first weekend? I'd say 3 out of 4, 3 times out of every 4 years. Yeah, I think they should. And I mean, like, I think that's a low baseline. And Cal, not to knock Cal. I mean, I'm just simply saying he wasn't producing at the end of his Kentucky career. He just wasn't.
Yeah, Mark Pope won more tournament games than Cal in his last 4 years that he didn't win.
Exactly. And so that's what the point I'm trying to make is, the feeling I have this year is I believe this team can win it all, and it's not crazy. And it just felt like, and including last year, I mean, I don't, we all knew it was an underrated team, but we didn't think they were going to win. They didn't have the talent to win it all.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the first time, I think, since probably the year that the tournament got canceled, that I really feel like Kentucky can win the entire thing. And I don't feel crazy for trying to, I don't feel like I have to convince anybody of that. I think everybody that's a Kentucky fan agrees.
I completely agree. And that would talk about that. That was such a sad day when they canceled that tournament, because we were looking pristine at that point. And I think we could have pulled that one out, but new day. And I think like you said, this team has high hopes like that one did. I mean, athletes across the board, talent everywhere. It's going to be an up-tempo paced team Like, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and they definitely have national championship aspirations.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, they do. This team is capable of winning it all, and you know, I think that a lot of Kentucky fans are in Twitter battles with other fan bases of all of our different rivals
or coaches,
or yeah, but of telling us how much, oh, you're not going to be that good, or don't let anybody take this feeling away from you. This feeling of excitement for this season. Don't let any
not
Tennessee,
even
Arkansas, Louisville fan, yeah, exactly, because Carson will go at you on Twitter, man. But don't let anybody of those fan bases take away your excitement for this season, because we're going to be really, really, really good. And I mean, like, even I think a good example, as much as I hate to say it, like, I think that Louisville's going to have a good basketball team this year. Their fans should be allowed. They should be allowed to enjoy this. Do I think we're going to beat them in the Yum Center? I do, but they're going to be good. They're going to win a lot of games in the crappy ACC.
Much better than the four-win team they had a couple years ago.
Exactly. But I'm just simply saying, like, they're going to be good this year. Their fans should be allowed to enjoy it. You can heckle them on social media all you want, but I'm just saying, like, Kentucky fans, don't let anybody tell you that to not be excited, because this team can be really, really good. And anybody that tries and tell you, well, Quaintance is hurt, well, the depth isn't as good, or we're depth from Trent Noah and Cohen Chandler. Anybody that tries to tell you anything like that, just don't listen, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about at all. So you're allowed to be excited, and you should be excited, because this is going to be a special, special season of Kentucky basketball. And I genuinely, my grandparents always tell me, like, we go on a yearly fishing trip, and it'll be like the middle of the summer. We always go in October. I'm like, man, I can't wait to go on our fishing trip this year. And they're always like, well, Andrew, don't waste away your summer. You got to enjoy your summer. I'm like, you're right. Don't waste away football season. Enjoy football season. But this basketball season is fun, and I really cannot wait.
No, yeah, me too. I'm super excited, and don't waste away football season, but we've got big things to look forward to.
Exactly. So we'll just let's have Kentucky football give us like one thing to enjoy.
Bowl game. As long as we can get to a bowl game.
A bowl game, or beat a Texas somehow. Hell, if you go 4-8, but you give us the thrill of beating Texas or something, I'm cool with it.
Oh, well, if you could lose every game on the schedule, but if you beat Tennessee and Louisville, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which, by the way, it sounds like the reports out of Knoxville are not positive.
Ooh,
I think they could end up being terrible.
They got a Garantano archetype back there.
Well, I mean, think about it is like it doesn't. That's what's so frustrating about the game of football is, like, your quarterback will hold you back, man. Like, last year's a great example. We had an elite defense at Kentucky football-wise last year, and we just didn't have quarterback play or any kind of offense, and we sucked.
Yep, offensive line and QB played two of the biggest things in the game.
Now, I think Tennessee is a good football team elsewhere, but at the end of the day, I mean, you are not winning more than 8 football games without a quarterback.
The hard part is with Heupel's offense, I mean, they're so spread out that the QB has to make throws, or else they're going to be not a good offense.
So, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what happens there, but to say that we could beat them in Lexington this year, it's not crazy at all.
No.
Like, it's really not, especially because we're going to be fired up for that game. But Kentucky football needs to just give us one exciting moment. Just give us one. Beat Tennessee.
Like last year, we beat Ole Miss. That's
fun. What I'm saying. And I was talking to Boff about that. That was like one of the more fun things. All of us over at Boff's house got that big win. That was a fun day. It was a fun day. Like, give us one thing to be excited about. Or if you beat Ole Miss, they're only ranked like 21 in the AP poll.
And they got a new QB coming in, and we always play Ole Miss close. You never really know.
So I'm saying, I mean, if we win that game, it'll be exciting because then you play Eastern Michigan, and then
which is a night game too, so that'll be a fun one.
And then I think is that South Carolina next? Yeah, and then you go to South Carolina, and I'm just telling you, if we go into that South Carolina game 3-0, it'll be I think we win? No, but it'll be a fun week, like leading into it. You know what I mean? Of like us trying to convince ourselves we can win that one.
Yeah.
Hell, maybe we do. I don't
That's
know.
what needs to happen. If we want full on fan support, I feel like Ole Miss is the game. Like if you beat Ole Miss, then your fans are back on board. But if you lose to Ole Miss, like if you get blown out, it's going to be tough. And then like you can't even think about losing to Toledo. Don't even think about that.
People are really buying into that.
Yeah, I mean they're down to 8.5.
And they got more votes than we did in the they got like a bunch of votes in the top 25 poll. Which I'm not saying we shouldn't have got obviously any votes. I'm just saying like they got some. Like people really think Toledo's good. I just don't. I believe in the level of talent, man. We're a better football team than they are.
Yeah,
they're coming to our place. If they win, something has gone wrong. We are a better football team than them.
I'm going to take my house to the bank and bet it on the Cats.
Dude, I really I'm wondering what betting that up to 13.5 does. Like, it's gotta be plus 200-300, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, now I'm gonna look real silly when Toledo comes into town and wins this game, and I'm gonna look like an idiot. But damn it, until then,
dude, yeah, that would be full on zero.
If that happens, it's gonna be a Sunday night. We might do a fire 'em go live. I mean, that if we lose to Toledo at home to start the season, we're sitting down here and doing a fire 'em on a live pod. Like you just get ready for that because that's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm getting excited for football season. We'll preview the Toledo game when we get to the week of that. But anything else, Carson, on expectations for this basketball team?
No, that's all I got. I got real high expectations this year as well, Coach Pope. No, so, I think he's going to get it done as well. I mean, he's so motivated. He's almost like motivated Mark, Yeah. Well, I guess his name is Mark.
We have two.
We got two motivated Marks. But yeah, I mean, I think one Mark season is going to go a little better than the others. But I like our national championship aspirations, and like Andrew said, don't let anybody get your hopes down. This team's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, enjoy this. Don't let anybody take it away from you. They're going to be fun. They're going to be really good. But the expectations are high. They should be high. We have one of the best basketball teams in the nation. That's the reality. What happens from that? Lots of things can happen. Injuries can happen. Different things can happen that derail things. But we have a good basketball team that is very capable of winning it all. And I'm excited to go on this journey and watch all these games and all that. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that. Leave a like.
We're getting close to 3K, Andy.
We are getting close to 3K. What are we at? Let's give people a little update here. We are at 2,778 subscribers. So we are getting there. Help get us to 3K.
Yeah,
I would really like to be like, it'd be so cool if we could get to 3,500 by the first basketball game of the season, which is November 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Against
well, yeah. Wait, I think so.
It's that one they just added. It's the
Louisville game?
No, it's the game they just added yesterday, which we should.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm late. You're right.
Okay, can I ask you one question about this before we're unsigning off? Well, I have one more question for you. What I am getting a little sick. Okay, hold on. Is this football? No, it's not. Okay, our first game is against Nichols on November 4th. Okay, and it's part of that BBN United Tip-Off Classic presented by Kentucky Tourism. I'm all for that. Here's the deal. I don't know what that means. Is it like for a good cause? If it is, we support that. Whatever it is, I don't know. But I want to go play in the Maui Invitational. And a little selfishly because I want to go to Maui.
I want to go to Maui.
The Bahamas or the wherever that they're playing. But
we got foreign tour next year.
Where are we going?
They haven't announced, but it's always like it lands on this year.
All right, we should. Okay, where I have to make a list of where I would go and where I would not go.
I'm sure it's not going to be a nasty place where they end up going.
I also though don't want to go alone because I don't know if I can handle myself alone in a foreign country because I don't know how to get around and so I would need someone else there with me. But unless it's like Australia, well, yeah, I'm hoping you'll Australia would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of English there. That's good. If I get lost, hey mate, where's the bathroom? You go up to people. But that's exciting. But what are your thoughts on that, Carson? We added Nichols, Valparaiso, and Eastern Illinois
to yeah, I think it's one of those tournaments that they signed up for like a certain number of years. And I think I thought I heard something about this maybe the last year that they're doing it. But I mean, I don't know exactly what it's for. It might be for a cause or something. So I'm not gonna like knock it. But
it might be. So no knock if it's for
but like you said, I would like to schedule some Maui Invitational or like some of the early on tournaments just to get, that feels like a little bit of March, but it's in November, like it's fun to play in those tournaments. And we used to do it all the time.
Yeah. Because once again, I'd go to that. I'd go to that. It'd be great. I would love to go do that. So I hope we do something like that soon. But I just, these games don't add anything to anything. We're going to beat these three teams by a combined 80 points between all three of them. And it's like, I just don't like, I want to do now. We have a tough non-conference schedule. I'm just saying, like, I'd like to go play in one of those events. I really would. Yeah. So I want to see that happen down the road at some point. So
I agree.
Well, now we're getting out of here. Hit that subscribe button, please, if you haven't already. Let's say the goal. Let's say 3,500 by the first game, November 4th. I think that's pretty solid.
Let's make the first goal 3K, and let's try to hit that by. Let's try to hit that by the Ole Miss game, September 6th.
All right, let's see if we can do it. I believe it. Y'all help.
I believe in our viewers. We got some great viewers. I believe that they can help us out.
Like I said, it's a click of a button, so we'd really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of their Tuesday, and we will see you next time right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.